Welcome to the Dave Palma Show, the podcast that revives, restores, and awakens your innermost capabilities.
You have the training and the talent to succeed, but do you have the guts to fail?
I love what I do. When you love what you do, you want to be the best at it.
Today is about the power of you. You will change the world.
Find your path to success through the journey of those who have succeeded. And now, your host, Dave Palma.
Hi, welcome back to the Dave Palma Show. And if you've ever dreamed of turning e-commerce into a life-changing business but felt overwhelmed by all the moving parts, today's guest is here to break it down for you. Neil Twa is a powerhouse in the e-commerce space, having helped 1,000 brands scale successfully. With his company, Voltage Holdings, he's been at the forefront of Amazon FBA strategies, and his latest book, Almost Automated Income with FBA, was already a bestseller. So today, we're diving into his journey, how he went from financial struggles to building multiple profitable businesses. Neil, welcome to the Dave Palma Show.
Hey, Dave. Thanks for having me on, sir.
Oh, it's a pleasure having you. Always good to know how people go from rags to riches. Well, not rags to riches, obviously.
Well, it was almost rags.
Almost.
Nearly rags.
So, Neil, look, listen, you've built an incredible reputation in the e-commerce world, but I want to take it back to the beginning now. So what first drew you into the Amazon FBA space, and what was your initial experience like?
Yeah, it's quite a journey. I mean, really, at the end of the day, it was a pivotal kind of situation, a change, a need, actually. I had just gotten out of a business where, I had a lot invested in, a lot of hopes and a lot of dreams, and maybe I was a little short-sighted, got a little too far, a little too over-leveraged. Discovered the business wasn't going as I thought it was, and I wasn't being paid what I needed. And with all those combination of bad circumstances in the storm, it forced me into a bankruptcy in order to deal with it. So, if you didn't, here's what I tell people about that now. If you don't push the limits of business, there's two things that you're never going to figure out. Where are your boundaries financially, fiscally, mentally, spiritually? And where, are you going to find yourself possibly being sued in business? If you try hard enough, one of those things is going to happen. And if you keep trying hard enough, both of them will happen at some point. Then you really feel yourself being a serious business person if you've ever dealt with these kinds of things at scale. So I pivoted into the business of Amazon out of need. I started to flip products for profit because I needed some money. I had ran into those financial troubles just due to short-sightedness, and I had actually made great money in the affiliate marketing and online marketing world with mobile advertising and gotten very good at it. And with that marketing experience, I had gone into a startup in Oklahoma and was taking, that marketing and advertising skill. The problem is they were taking the money and it wasn't going into the business, and it certainly wasn't going to me. But, I pivoted, I went into products and I started flipping them on Amazon. I ran into a guy that I know, a friend of mine, and he's, said he was flipping products on Amazon. I'm like, you can do that? And he's like, yeah. And I go, if it's like eBay, I don't want anything to do with it, right? I'm like, I don't want to ship stuff out of my house or whatever. He's like, no, it's not like that at all. They have this thing called Fulfilled by Amazon. You got to check it out. It's they ship the products to the customer and they do all this stuff. And I was super intrigued because from the digital component of it, I realized that the physical products were a cool opportunity. And it actually made sense because I could control both sides. I could control the digital side, but I could also control the physical. And then I can actually control the entire component of the business model, which is something that I had lacked desperately in that control that led me to such problems. And, started flipping products and led to brands, and then brands led to more brands, and a real understanding of branded marketing and marketplaces and the physical product world. And that was 12 years ago.
Wow.
Met a gentleman named Reed Larson during that time frame, and he kind of really helped me with his experience in creative marketing and finance and operations and tacticals and pro formas and stuff. And he had a really solid foundation of understanding in all of that space. I did not as much. My marketing and advertising and engine brain was on the other side of the house, and because of that, we kind of became one brain, and we partnered on our first brand together. And by 2015, we had our first 7-figure brand going.
Wow, seven figures. Yeah.
Yep.
Well, that's like 1 million plus.
Correct.
After how many years?
Well, it took us about 3 years to get to that. We flipped products to begin with, and then we realized, we couldn't get enough product. We were having success with it. We were figuring out the economic engine of Amazon at that point in the early days when you could still flip products for profit, when right now they pretty much are working everything necessary to shut you down every chance you do that in their marketplace. It's very difficult to do now. So very not recommended, not something we do. Unless you're doing like pure wholesale at the invoice level, everything on Amazon has to be private label.
Oh, is it?
Today's world. Yeah.
Right. So like yours is Voltage, basically.
Yeah, so we have a private label brands named in the system that are based on a business, an LLC, a private brand, a registered trademark. They're registered with Amazon system. We have IP and collateral around each of the brands. So they are, by all standards, a true business in terms of its formation. And it's private label, so the products are owned and manufactured custom by us. Amazon loves that. They want branded products on their system, and they want to encourage them to be sold. What they don't like is people playing around with their system and flipping products for profit and doing arbitrage and jacking with the system. They don't appreciate that at all.
Right. Yeah.
And that's where you hear a lot of the stories and the hopium gurus and the YouTubers and all this stuff. Amazon killed my account, and it's because they're trying to flip products today, and Amazon doesn't want it, so they shut it down. But
yeah,
it was a great learning lesson to understand the brandability of products, and we realized Amazon was a demand capture platform. In fact, the first product brand we saw was I was up late at $4, and the third one was needing a bottle, and mom was super tired, and I'm a late night owl, so I was the one that got up and helping out and flipped on the television while she's taking her bottle, and up comes this infomercial for a product called Seat Pets, and there was this product with the head and the doll, and it looked like a dog, and you put it in the car, and you put it on the seat belt, and the kid could keep their head on it, and they can snuggle on it or whatever when they're a kid. And I thought, well, this might be a good product for my daughter. And then it struck me to change that. The conditional thinking, the idea, the thing we call what the hell do I sell kind of kicked in. And it was like, hey, I bet I could sell one of those. And so we went back and we did some research and realized they weren't really capturing any demand on Amazon. They were doing a lot of front end marketing, but there was no capture really on Amazon. There was a poor listing, and we thought, hey, we can beat that listing. So we went out and made 2,000 of those. We created a brand called Belt Buddies, and we launched it in the marketplace. And we sold in 8 weeks. We sold 2,000 units organically. So we were hooked. At that point, we just realized there's this whole window of demand on Amazon that's being captured, and it's only gotten exponentially larger over the years. Now up to 30% of all television commercials, even if they don't say Amazon, they flow over to Amazon. 20 to 30% of Shopify, Facebook ads, marketplace ads, etc., TikTok shop viral videos, etc., they all end up on Amazon. So it's now known in our world as the demand capture platform. So there's a river of traffic flowing through there continuously for searches for specific products. People are there to buy. That's the psychology of an Amazon buyer. And we just get in front of that traffic and we capture it.
Yeah, wow. Well, there's certainly a lot of online marketing expertise to be known there as well. Well, Amazon FBA is often seen as a gold mine, but it's not without it's not without its challenges. And you've discussed earlier, some of the biggest mistakes like flipping and stuff like that. But what are the biggest mistakes new sellers make, and how can they avoid them?
They treat a business like a side hustle or a hobby business. So if you already come in with that idea that you need side hustle, hobby business type of activities, Amazon's not the place to go for that.
Right.
If you need to flip some product for cash now, you go to go to eBay, because it's actually doing pretty good now. You go to places like Facebook Marketplace, and you flip some products for profit on that. Making $1,000 a month isn't difficult on Facebook Marketplace right now.
Really?
No, actually. Here's a quick tip for anybody paying attention. If you go and look for pianos in your local area on Facebook Marketplace, you'll find in the free section, there are people giving away hundreds of pianos for free.
Wow.
If you got a little bit of time and some manpower, and you got more time than money, you grab that piano for free and you take it home, clean it up just a little bit, and flip it for $1,000 on Facebook Marketplace, and you can sell one a month or two,
or eBay even,
or even on eBay, because it's a free product.
Yes, right.
You make sure that it's working okay. You might have to pay a couple $100s to get it tuned, make sure it sounds good if that's necessary. But you would be surprised how much free good stuff is given away by people in motion who need to get rid of it and can't figure out or don't want to wait for it to sell, that you could grab and turn around and flip for profit for $1,000, $2,000, $3,000 a month. Yeah. It's a simple little side hustle. That truly is. But when it comes to trademarking and branding and building a customized private label product, that is not a side hustle or hobby. So I think people tend to limit their belief in an idea that this is possible, that I could do this. When it comes to what the heck do I sell and where do I sell it? If you're going to go for branded private label, if you're going to go for long-term opportunity, if you want 3 to 5 years of generational wealth opportunity, generational time freedom, if you want to create a business that has automation capabilities, that has growth and scalability beyond you when you're making money and you're sleeping and you don't have to lift pianos, then private label is the way to go. And Amazon FBA is a great place to start a sales channel in an e-commerce business, right? One in which you do not limit the opportunity. So you realize the time, energy, attention, and money, or the team effort required, is usually going to be greater and longer than you think it is,
Yeah.
especially at the beginning. And you're going to want to deploy a lot more capital to private label. And that's one of the, gotchas, one of the hurdles.
Yeah.
People, I recommend people don't start with less than 5 to 25,000 on the private label side.
Right.
The more capital you bring to the table, the sooner you'll have success. With that, you simply don't put it all into one product. That's an amateur mistake. We have a phrase in our company: "Don't marry your products, steal somebody else's girlfriend instead." So there are plenty of,
I like that.
girlfriends. Yeah. So
I don't like the idea of stealing the girlfriends, because it could be
I'm
your
a very
girlfriend getting
long-term
stolen.
marriage, but
It could be my girlfriend being stolen.
But yeah, the whole thing is that
well, actually,
people
I'm
get
married,
married to their
yeah,
products.
you know what I mean.
Yeah, absolutely. They really do. They get so invested that this is my baby, and I put all this time and blood and sweat and tears to get it to market, and it has to work. And then they hang on to it for way too long. And instead of pivoting to another product or looking at a different product slightly different and changing up the way that product is sold in the marketplace, they get married to it. And it's
Yeah.
very hard to divorce that emotional context. So we take emotions completely out of this, and it's a data-driven process. We go what we call by the numbers. By the numbers, you must get a product that makes more than $12 in net profit per unit. So it's what we keep that's important, net profit, which means we'll sell products in the retail price point of $50 to $500 in retail price point. Okay, we prefer $40 to $80 in profit per unit on our products. So when we start setting that aside here and start looking at that data, those numbers, products will start to identify themselves more, right? And tier 2 products and tier 3 products on Amazon are where we sell at. A tier 1 product is anything $30 or less. It's mass marketing, but it is not for profit. You're going to fail at it. So when beginners get started, they'll typically target those lower retail price point products because it costs less to get into the market. The problem is that's where everybody else is going. And most of those places on Amazon are already entrenched, and you're going to find yourself not being able to get market share before you run out of money. And when you do get it moving, the idea in amateur business language becomes, I can overcome profit by volume. If I simply sell more, I'll make more money. But here's the fact. If I sell $1 profit for 1,000 times, okay, 1,000 times at $1 profit this month, but next month I sell 2,000 units at $1 in profit, did I actually make more money or did I lose money? So in the economics of it, you'll actually lose money because you have more inventory, more storage, and more cost for the extra 1,000 units, but you didn't increase your profitability, so it's actually going to be more costly to you.
Well, the overheads, basically.
Your overhead, your cost, your cost of goods and things will cost more, what we call our entire landed cost. Yeah. So it would be better for you to sell 1,000 units next month, but increase your profit from $1 to $3 in profitability. It'd be important to expand the profitability of the business, not the amount of volume. And this is a kind of an amateur mistake people make. So these are big things that people fail at the beginning. And 6 months into the process, they come and say, Neil, please help my baby. Save my baby. And usually the answer is you need to spend more money, which is never what they want to hear.
No, it's not. No,
you've got to spend more time working on the data, because here's what it gets down to. There's no emotions in today's world of data-driven, AI-powered systems. And these are AI-powered systems with data behind them. So we sell data as a listing, okay, graphics, image, copy, etc., to an AI engine called Amazon, and it sells products to customers.
Right.
So if I know my role in this, I am not a product developer. I'm a data aggregator.
Right. Okay. Is that a bit like saying you do the prompts, but it's for the graphics and everything else kind of thing?
I have to get the image, the copies, the graphics, the conversions down. I have to understand why the system is going to accept mine and not someone else.
Yeah, that's right.
The customer intent and need of that product for the AI engine to determine what it is, all the way through graphics, images, videos, etc. So that it produces a proper narrative of my brand in the system represented against the competition, and then will give me impressions and clicks. And if I do a great job, I'll get sales, which means I've really dialed in that customer intent and need for the product itself, which doesn't get delivered for 2 days until after they buy it. So they're not actually buying the product, are they? They're buying the outcome. They're buying the hope. They're buying the intent. The median is just an exchange by which the product is delivered for the money they exchanged. What they're really buying is the solution. Right. So if I'm providing a product with the best solution, and then becomes number 2 concern, not number 1, and this is where most amateur sellers get this inverted. Even pro sellers I've seen come in doing 3 or 4 million a year have this inverted, which is one of the things that's holding them back from getting to 10 to 15 million, is they put the product evolution over the data evolution. And they'll spend way too much time engineering the product with the idea that if you build it, they will come. And I think we got caught up in that from, Hollywood and stuff, maybe Shark Tank and other things.
Yeah.
And in actuality, it is if I build the better data set, the algorithm will put me in front of more people. Therefore, I will get more impressions, more clicks, and my job is to turn those into sales. And the better I do that, the more I can sell in the system, the more I can grow, and the faster the business will go.
Yeah, wow. Well, your book, Almost Automated Income with FBA, is almost streamlining and scaling. It's almost all about that, isn't it?
It is exactly about that.
Yeah, but from your own experience, what was the hardest lesson you had to learn before achieving the success you have today?
I had to stop thinking that tactically, the button pushing and the product flipping component I started off with was the way you actually make money in this model. When in actuality, it is the strategy. We call it the 5x5 product launch process, okay? Is by which you test data, validate data, look at the data in motion, and then just make decisions based on the data so that overarching you can see which products fit in the brand. I also made the mistake of marrying the products instead of marrying the business or marrying the brand. And there are millions of product opportunities. So once I took that off my plate, the goal there was just to find the right data set that was in demand, okay, on a what we call Amazon being a river, but it's also a decision tree of information flowing through an AI engine. And what I wanted to understand differently was that if I produce this product, more people would see it and then want to buy it. But in actuality, if the data in the system was not more valuable than the competitor data already in it, okay, that had been flowing and going as a river of data already in that system, then I simply wasn't going to overtake it. If you visualize it like a river, literally, and I'm coming up with my new product to the bank of the river, if I stop halfway down the bank and don't actually make it to the water, then I try to coax the river to come to me. That's not how it works. You go yell at the river, it isn't going to move for you, right? What I realized was that's what a lot of marketing does. It tries to yell at the customer and say, hey, customer, come here, right? And in actuality, they needed to move into the river and get in the middle of the river where the product and data was flowing the most and the fastest. And when I realized that we weren't there, it just meant there had to be more tweaking of the image, copy, graphic, and data to just align and click, click, click like a lock that I would move out into the middle of that river. And once I did, we call it Amazon's slipstream. Once you hit that slipstream, it go from 30 to 300 units a day relatively fast. And it's one of the missing components that most people don't understand about these kinds of engines. It works like that, very similar on Facebook ads, only you have to pay for it. There's no organic. No. And it works like that on Google. Once you're in that slipstream traffic, you can raise Google up really fast. And TikTok is very similar in the same capacity that it has an AI-driven engine that's looking to make viral videos go.
Oh, I didn't know that. I didn't know that.
Yeah, certain data points that it's looking to see and train and understand that if it tests you against a certain audience, then it's going to show you to more people if the certain response rate occurs, if a click rate occurs, if a certain view time occurs. Amazon has a very similar thing on its pages where it's looking for click rates and view and add to carts and purchases to determine the intent of your product's value against the competition already in the system. And once I unlocked that knowledge, which actually came from my experience at IBM, then I realized that this learning system had certain things it was looking for. It was dancing. And if I just gave it what it wanted at the right time, not what I thought it wanted or what I thought the market might want, but if I just gave the engine what it wanted and let it do its thing, it would reward me. And it became a process. And once I understood the process, it's repeatable for every product you put in the system.
Yeah, wow. Well, Neil, this has been an insightful conversation. So before we wrap up, for those listening who are thinking about diving into the Amazon FBA, but feel hesitant, what's one piece of advice you'd give them to take that first step?
Build the business with intrinsic value so that it is worth more in the end than at any time during the business building phase. Build for 3 to 5 years. Okay, put the time, energy, attention, and money into the business so that you could do something in 3 to 5 years that no one else can do and live like nobody else can in 3 to 5 years. These are businesses that can move extremely fast. I have case studies on my website and YouTube you guys are willing to go check out that talk about going from 0 to $1 million in that first year or even up to $5 million a month in that first year. And the opportunity is when you deploy capital to the system correctly, there's a huge amount of people out there that want to buy products. And they're doing it 8,600 times a minute in Amazon, right? That's a lot of traffic, a lot of opportunity. Yeah. And it is your challenge to get out there and get into it. We have the thing we call the platinum principle, which is when we build these companies, we are building them with the exit in mind. So everything from the very beginning is structured to build it into a true operating ongoing concern that tosses off, growth and profit in year 2, and then can see scale in years 3 through 5. And our goal is to beat the 92% of businesses that fail in years 4 through 5. As I've been in business for 17 years, I've figured it out a few times, both highs and lows. So we encourage people to not try to go it alone. There are a lot of sharks in this water. We're not selling courses here at Voltage. What we are is an incubator. We're a brand incubator and a service provider of software and SaaS tools that support the process by which operators grow into CEOs. We help them within a specific framework by which, when they go, I look to buy their company later on. A private equity group behind us called Patriot Growth Capital, when they reach the buy box required metrics we have within our business, I ask for what's called rights of first refusal, meaning that an off-market brokering deal can be done, and I look to buy their companies. So as we raise them up, we build aspiring entrepreneurs or help entrepreneurs grow their e-commerce channels, my goal and intent is to buy their company. So I needed to reach a certain buy box of expectations. So we set everything from the very beginning with that expectation so that we can look at buying it later.
Wow. Well, that's fantastic, Neil. Neil, it's really been a fantastic, as I say, insightful conversation with you today. And thanks very much for coming on the show and sharing your knowledge and experience on the show today. Thanks once again.
Wonderful. Thank you, Dave. Appreciate you, sir.
That's all for this episode. Thanks for listening. And remember, if you want to support what we do, then share, subscribe, and leave a review over on Apple Podcasts. Or head over to my website, davepalmer.com, and click on Rate Show. Well, that's all for now, but I'll see you in the next episode of The Dave Palmer Show.
Follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram.